Let's do it.
Okay, we have Randall with us live. He joined us with support local DFW business. Real quick, he's gonna tell us what he does. What's your business about, man?
Yeah, Graham, great to be on. I appreciate you and everybody in the group. I'm so blessed to be a part of it. I've been doing business in Dallas, Fort Worth for the last 5 years, and I have a company called Happy Healthy. We're a lifestyle wellness company. We do clinical weight loss, and we have online programs and products as well, which is, I'm very fortunate for that because as everything's hit us, the online sales have been very, very important to my company. And we'll talk more about that, what we're doing clinically to still operate. But I love helping people. I've got a story that kind of leads to all this. I think you'll probably ask some of those questions, but I love helping people live happy, healthy lives. Two good clinical outcomes, right? Happy, healthy people. The world needs more of those,
Yes,
right? Yeah.
definitely. So when did you start this? How did you get into this?
Yeah, so company launched in 2015. I'm a chiropractor by trade. So I practiced for 15 years, retired. I had started a couple of businesses that didn't work out. And then Happy Healthy was kind of born out of some tragedy. So I'll maybe take everybody back really quickly to the genesis of my company. I got diagnosed with late stage cancer in July of 2010. So I was 36 years old. I looked healthy, Graham. I was 8% body fat, but they're giving me 2 months to 2 years to live.
Mm.
So the cancer all in my lymphatics, and it spread to my liver and into my stomach, very aggressive. And if you can imagine, they were, the prognosis was pretty dire. And they recommended chemotherapy, radiation, surgery. They said maybe a drug trial at my age. And then check this out. They were like, well, if that doesn't work, then hospice care as I progress. So basically morphine until I die.
Mm.
So I was scared to death, buddy. I'm not going to lie. I wish I could put on a brave face and say I didn't cry myself this night for several weeks. But what I decided to do, and this is how I got into what I do now, I refused care respectfully. I ended up going to Spain, of all places, and I worked with a doctor there who did holistic work. I've always been natural minded. I always try to avoid drugs and surgery if at all possible. You really can't poison people into health, right? Health is
Right.
in. I love the philosophy of health. It's so powerful that our body's designed to heal, and I really still believe that in my worst moment. So I go over to Spain, and this doctor gives me a 20-second consult, if you can imagine. So I fly all the way over to Spain. I don't know if I'm going to come back either in a body bag or healthy. And he sits me down in the room and he goes, Randy, I'll do nothing that will kill you. I'm like, well, thank God, because they couldn't offer me that in America. And then he goes, I don't know if you're going to make it, but I'll do everything I can to get your body adapting again, chemically, physically, and emotionally. It's your best chance to get well and for cancer not to come back. And then he takes off his glasses and he goes, Randy, no need for theatrics. Are you ready to get started? And Graham, I got to tell you, I said, heck yeah. So I jumped into his program. He didn't treat conditions. He treats the person that has the condition. What a concept, right? In America, we really diagnose and treat disease with drugs and surgery. There's not a lot of focus on prevention. And so I went through his protocols. I got well in about 60 to 90 days, no trace of cancer. And Graham, that was almost 10 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's what led me to where I'm at now. So I decided to become a student of this doctor. And I did spend a lot of time in Spain with this man. And I developed protocols, food sequencing, testing that looks at biomarkers that influence our health. The epiphany I had over there was that everything you don't want in life, from weight issues to chronic illness, has an inflammatory metabolic component. If you can identify that, you can create healthy solutions. So voila, now I'm all equipped, ready to come back and help people in a whole new way. And check this out, man. If it wasn't already bad enough, what I was going through, my baby brother dies at 27 years old from a massive heart attack.
And there's nothing you could do about that, huh?
He was
Like, there's
100 over.
were any symptoms leading up to that? Like, did he have like any prior?
No symptoms at all, Graham. He was completely asymptomatic, which is one of the reasons why you don't want to base your health on how you feel. Health is how you're healing and functioning and adapting. And a lot of times symptoms show up after the fact. The only symptom was my brother was severely obese. Okay, but he was 27. When he died, that's when I launched Happy Healthy. So I decided, let me help people like my brother, because my brother had a terrible metabolism. Didn't matter what he did, man. He had to starve himself, work out 24/7. And then when he wasn't perfect, all the weight would come back. He did this really his whole adult life. It cost him his life. So that's what I do now is I look at the human metabolism. I have testing. I have protocols that help people not only lose weight, but get out of inflammation, heal their body, and lose unwanted body fat. And so I'm very passionate about what I do, because it isn't just something I'm saying, hey, try this. I'm like, no, I do this for my own health. And I've done it now with over 10,000 patients in the last 5 years. So it's been pretty gratifying.
That's wonderful, man. So like you battled cancer, you
Yes.
lost your brother, and like these little things right here is what pretty much like drove you to want to help more people. So I can admire that. I really do admire that, because like my aunt had cancer a few years ago. They did what everyone else does, the chemo.
Yeah.
She lost her hair, so I shaved my head
Yeah.
along with her, right, to make her feel like she wasn't alone. And
Right.
like it's like they don't really have a cure. They just patch you up with some medicine to make you feel temporarily okay, but they don't really heal the actual the source. They don't heal the pain or the disease.
Yeah, no doubt, man. It's not that, and that's not that some people haven't been helped medically that way and are living, breathing, alive and well today. It's just, if you look at it, the numbers don't make a lot of sense anymore. And that's why I like what that doctor said in Spain. He goes, I don't want to treat your cancer. I want to treat you. Because if we get you healthy, cancer's not going to survive. Cancer doesn't make you sick. You're already sick. That's why you got cancer. So I've taken that same philosophy that I really taught through all of my years in clinical experience, what I learned in Spain, to apply that same philosophy to attacking weight. Because if you're asking, how do I lose weight? It's a really bad question. The question you got to ask is, how do I fix and improve my metabolism? Because that controls what you weigh, really, regardless of what you do.
Okay. So what was like one of the biggest challenges like for you starting to launch your company?
To be quite honest, and I think everybody listening who has a small business can appreciate this, it was finding out who is your ideal customer, right? Who is your audience? And then how do you market to them and reach them? If you don't know those two things, you could have the best business in the world and you're going to go out of business very quickly, which is why most businesses do. And
Right.
so that was my biggest challenge. Really, who is my audience? Who am I speaking to? And then unfortunately, or fortunately, I really had to spend a lot of time and money failing at what wasn't working to figure out, okay, now how are we going to make this better? Because marketing, as we all know, it's really the lifeblood of the company. If nobody's coming in, then if the cash flow gets poor, the stress goes through the roof, and you can really dry up cash flow pretty quick. And I had enough resources, I believe, to be conservative enough to figure it out. But really, over the last 5 years, I really got that dialed in, and I really know what's working now. But I'm already thinking about the fact that trees don't grow to the sky. So what's the next strategy when this dries up? And then, of course, who could have predicted what we're going through right now? And my business got hit at the end of last year by the Federal Trade Commission. They shut our operation down and did a full audit on us. And how can you predict that? Now, obviously, we provided everything they needed. We were back up and running, but they shut down all of my marketing for 6 weeks. So how do you survive that kind of stuff? It's learning through those processes. And then this COVID-19, now, thank God, we're considered an essential business because we're in the health field and how weight impacts our overall health and prevention of disease. But we could no longer just schedule people to come in one-on-ones. We had to make some adaptations to how we were approaching our clients and our customers.
Right. So you had to digitize your business. Instead of doing the one-on-one in person, you had to do them like we're doing now through Zoom and like give them a diagnostic through that.
So yeah, we did a couple of things, Graham. Number one, and so a lot of our marketing happens on TV. I've been a regular on Good Morning Texas now for about 4 years. And when we get on Good Morning Texas, we're able to drive a lot of bookings online to our program and to our clinic. But now with COVID-19, guess what happened when my first GMT hit after this quarantine hit? Nobody booked. Or normally have, 20, 30 people book in the next 15 minutes when we're done with the segment. And so we started doing phone calls. So now they were getting booked for a phone consultation initially. And then I'm making a recommendation, either come into our office or do our stay-at-home package. So we had to make those couple of tweaks. And Graham, by doing that, our business has been thriving. I'm busier now than I've really been in quite some time. I feel super blessed. And all it was that one little thing of making these phone calls. And what's so great about it, I'm going to continue to do this when everything comes back to normal, because I have loved getting to know people before they came into the clinic with a quick phone call and finding out more about who they are, what they want, and if it's really a good candidate for what we do. Our conversions have gone way up because anybody coming in is already really ready to go. I've already gone through potential pricing options with them. It's felt really, really good.
You mentioned before that you had like a lot of issues when you started out your business. Like you learned a lot of lessons. What's one of the main things that you could have done back in the past? I know you don't know now, but someone's gonna look up to you now. You might have like a Padawan, that wants to learn from you. What's something advice that you would give them so they don't repeat some of the same mistakes that you made?
Yeah, I think a couple things, Graham. Number one, it doesn't have to be perfect to get started, right? Sometimes you don't have all the answers. You don't know exactly what it's going to look like. And so you don't do anything. And I think it's a huge mistake in business to get paralyzed by not knowing exactly what's going to happen. With this strategy we implemented, I had no idea it was even going to work. I was like, am I about to go out of business? Or we're going to have to close down clinical operations until this quarantine is over? So I think going back when I started my business, I think if I'd have had my messaging a little more clear, there's a lot of moving parts. There's beauty in simplicity. And I think if my messaging would have been a little more clear, and I think if I'd have launched a little bit sooner without worrying about things being perfect, I could have learned quicker on the fly, because that's really how you're going to learn, is get out there. Obviously, you're going to have to put the work in, but making sure your messaging is clear. Remember, it doesn't have to be perfect. If you have great integrity, if you're honest with your clientele, if you put the work in, perfection's really not an ideal. That's utopia anyway. So if you're like me, I'm a perfectionist, Graham, and so sometimes that can paralyze me. So I've had to learn as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, sometimes just jump in head first. Don't stick your toe in the water.
Yeah, my mentor tells me the same thing. Like he taught me SEO and like how to build websites and whatnot. And one of the things that he told me was, you can't be waiting for the stars and everything to line up. Just get something out there.
I love that. It's so true. And it doesn't mean be reckless, right? It doesn't mean take unnecessary risk. But a lot of times, if we think about it, we're really just holding off, and it really can almost become an excuse because we thought everything wasn't ready to go yet. And you'd be surprised just getting out there and taking that first step, how you can learn a lot quicker by sitting back and trying to figure it all out. Because some things you just don't know what you don't know, and you won't know it until you do it.
Yeah, sometimes you gotta get your feet wet, just get it done. Yeah, because procrastinate, that's what leads to procrastination. Like, yeah, it's just like perfectionists, everything's gotta be right. What are they gonna think about this? What if it doesn't work? There's a lot of what ifs, everything's playing in your head. Action to just take action, just make action, right? So like
action, right?
You mentioned how you were on TV, and after the COVID hit, your business like wasn't getting booked. So this next question is, how has current events affected your business? You would think, since you're in like holistic health, that it would be booming right now.
Yeah, well, here's what I knew, Graham. I knew, number one, just because the virus hit, it didn't change my desire or passion to want to help people be healthier and live their best life, right? None of that changed for me. In fact, I'm more passionate now than I've ever been in my life. So if that was true, and then in contrast, if there's still more people now than ever before who need to lose weight, who need to get off medication, who need to reduce inflammation, who need to build their immune system. There's never been a better time than right now with this scare of this virus. So there's still a huge need for people to get healthy. I still had a desire to help them. So how do we mesh the two still? And that's where the phone consultations came into play, which really over that week or two where we struggled, where people weren't scheduling anymore to come into the office in a one-on-one, that simple tweak to make the phone call first, set them up that way has been all the difference. And like you said, now these last 2 weeks, I literally have no capacity. I'm booked out. I'm already fully booked until next Wednesday, and I'm back on Good Morning Texas Saturday. So all of that happened because I was willing, number one, to take a little bit of a risk, get uncomfortable, and not sit back and make excuses, which we can do. It would have been easy to just go, hey, I'm just going to shut down the clinic for a couple of months till everything gets clear. We've been able to maintain our employees, still do great business. I've even been offering discounted services during the quarantine to help offer a little reprieve to anybody coming in, but still be profitable enough to keep the doors open and continue to move forward through this process.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Yeah, getting uncomfortable. That's what makes or breaks a business sometimes is if they're willing to get uncomfortable sometimes. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people are like running for the hills. Oh, you know what I mean? And shutting their doors. So what would make you what makes you stand out from these other businesses that do what you do? Why should they choose you over, the next person?
Yeah, that's a great question. Before I answer that, just anybody in this space, I know how hard it is to make marketing work, to always take care of your patients. So there's so many programs out there, Graham, that are doing a great job. So I don't know necessarily that I'm any better than anybody else, other than I would think there's a few things that make me unique that
Right.
maybe make somebody more of a better candidate for what I do. Because I'm not a diet or an exercise company. So I don't do that. There's plenty of companies who do that, and they're doing a great job. I focus on the metabolism. So I think one of the things that makes me unique is my testing. It's that same testing that I used in Spain and learned about. What it does, it gets a blueprint for every single patient coming in, because no two people are going to lose or gain weight the same way. We're all so biologically unique. So my testing looks at biomarkers that influence the human metabolism, things like hormones, not just sex hormones, but like metabolic hormones, insulin, glucagon, leptin, cortisol, adrenaline. There's a whole panel there. We look at toxicity in the human body. Toxins will wreck your metabolism and cause nasty weight gain. We look at the endocrine system, organ function. We look at neurological stress. We really get a nice profile for each patient. So then I can customize our approach for that person. So I think customization is key, makes me unique. I think another thing that makes me unique is my program is guaranteed. So it's hard to guarantee weight loss because there's so many factors there. But in my program, I do guarantee the results. I guarantee a minimum of 15 pounds in 5 weeks. My average is 30 pounds over a 5-week period, but I do guarantee 15. The reason I don't guarantee more than 15 is because of the Federal Trade Commission. The Attorney General won't let anybody in my space, not even the Surgeon General, can make a claim of more than 3 pounds a week. So 3 times 5 is 15. That's how I legally get there. But our average really is 30 pounds for anybody going through our 5-week protocol. So there's a guarantee on it. It's customized. And then I've got a secret weapon. Can I show you my secret weapon?
Yeah, go ahead.
Here's the secret weapon right here.
SCT oil.
Yeah, SCT oil. So this is something we obviously sell online, but I brought this to market about 2 years ago. If you've ever heard of like MCT oil,
Never.
or coconut oil.
Yeah, I've heard of coconut oil.
Yeah, a lot of people use these fats for like keto diets or paleo or for fat burning. Well, SCT is a short chain triglyceride fat. So it's the perfect fat for the brain, the gut, and the liver to promote fat burning and reduce inflammation. And so I was the first to market with this. And it's been phenomenal when I brought it into our weight loss protocols, because we were able to get people into fat burning quicker and help them stay there long term. So SCT oil is hypoallergenic. It's got a 500, throw it in your coffee. It's the perfect fat for fat burning. And that's a huge part of our protocol, which is unique to Happy Healthy.
So you can ingest that, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It tastes like caramel or butterscotch. Obviously there's no sugar. There's a very meticulous process to get it to be hypoallergenic. But if you're trying to avoid dairy or don't break down fat very well, it's perfect because it's our system essentially creates a non-dairy product. And the taste is outstanding, Graham. I'll have to send you somebody.
Yeah. So people can find that at your website?
Yeah, at sctoil.com. So SCT, short chain triglyceride oil.com. You can purchase it there off the website. Obviously, it's a part of our protocols that we do in the clinic in our home version of our program. But I'll warn everybody listening and yourself, this stuff is very addictive. So if you do try it, be prepared to stay on it for the rest of your life. No joke.
That addicting.
That's for a shameless plug.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah. Yeah, you should bring those on a TV with you?
I have sometimes. It made its debut in Sacramento, actually.
Really?
I do a lot of TV work in Sacramento and Indianapolis. We've got clinics there, and obviously here in Dallas-Fort Worth. But yeah, it made its TV debut on Good Day Sacramento about 2 years ago.
That's wonderful. That is wonderful. What's the number one way you're currently bringing in new customers, and how has the internet played a role in your business doing this? If that's the way.
Yeah, so I'll be honest, my social media presence is terrible. That's one of my weak spots in my company. And you know, I'm this old school guy. I'm 45 years old. I grew up in the brick and mortar world. And you just get in there and work your 80 hours a week and do whatever it takes. And then now we're in this whole new generation, Graham, like you guys with the tech savvy and the online and the social media. So that's where we don't really bring in a lot. Organically, we'll have a few people come in. But that's one of the things I'm really going to be focusing on this year. And this COVID thing has driven me to get better at this and hire some more people to help train our team to get better. Right now, really, it is the Good Morning Texas segments. We're on Fox. We're on the WFAA, Good Morning Texas, CBS. All the TV work that we do is very, very effective. And it's, once again, I don't know how long it's going to last. Things can change so quick. But as of right now, it's really, really been the main reason we're bringing in so many new patients. And then we really try to do a good job with helping clients purchase again or second money, right? Taking great care of who we already have, because a lot of people going through our programs, they need ongoing support. They need second or third rounds. They need coaching. So I think this has driven us to be more focused, which is a great thing. If I never took on one more new person, take care of who you have. If you've got a bunch of raving fans, they're going to tell other people, and they're also going to want to continue to spend more money with you and get services that they're going to still benefit from.
Right. So pretty much TV is the main way you generate new customers.
It really is, just because I've done everything, Graham. I've spent ungodly amounts of money the last 5 years in 5 different markets to figure out what works and how to target our clientele. One of the things, the reason online is going to be so key, because our average age person coming into our clinic is going to be probably about 40 to 65 years old. And a lot of that generation still is watching TV, where this newer generation, as they're kind of moving into their late 30s and 40s, they're more tech savvy and online. So I don't want to get caught holding the bag with the TV bag. And then that clientele's gotten older, and then our newer generation who's getting more of their information on social media, I didn't do anything to help find them and still reach them, because my business shouldn't go anywhere, because there's always going to be a need for people to lose weight, to get healthy. So I've got to remain relevant and current from now on, so I don't end up in a situation where anything could happen and then I'm out of business, or I can no longer do what I love.
You said you mentioned you tried to do like 5 different types of marketing. Like, what were some of those?
So I did a lot of the companies that I worked at, they always talked about building and doing marketing on, like, with Facebook ads and Instagram and advertising online. And they promise you the world, but really all they can show you are impressions. And I wasn't so much concerned with impressions as I was people getting their butt into my clinic. So you would have all these people excited about all the traffic and the impressions and the clicks. But I'm like, guys, I didn't see one new patient this month, and I just dropped $15,000. So I
Man,
found that really wasn't that effective, especially if you work with a lot of larger companies. Now, if you're more one-on-one, not hiring robots or clicks or impressions, you can get some traction there. But that's one of the mistakes I made, was hiring out these bigger companies, which usually were with all the TV firms, right? Like the CBS, the ABC, the NBC, because they've got their online marketing teams, and they're trying to get you to buy more of their marketing dollar. And I'm like, I just want TV segments, because the extra 10 online isn't producing what a $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 TV segment's going to produce.
right.
Email campaigns were a complete disaster. They would promise a certain percentage of open rate. They would tell me it's my demographic. That never worked. I've done it and spent thousands and thousands of dollars, so that didn't work. Radio worked a little bit, but it wasn't working near as well as TV, so it wasn't my cost per acquisition. And that's one thing you want to know as a small business owner. What is your cost per acquisition? If you do not know that number, you are screwed, because you'll think you're doing great, and at the end of the day, we already know what the numbers show. It's like, wow, we were really busy, but we didn't make any more money. So I already know what my cost per acquisition is, and I know what I'm okay with. And anytime marketing dollars don't meet that cost per acquisition, then I have to either change the strategy or I eliminate it and bring in something that's going to match that number.
Yeah, so you've tried a lot of things. Sounds like a lot of people have like jerked you around, like jerked your leg, like a lot of empty promises.
Oh man. Well, I don't think they're bad people, but I don't know, maybe you just got to be smart enough to know what you're doing, and you can't be smart enough until you lose the money. I hired one company, Graham, out of Sacramento. It was a $50,000 study called an Elevate study. And what it was, they were basically polling people in the area and asking questions to somehow identify exactly how to target those people. And I trusted the study. I wanted a fresh set of eyes on it, spent $50,000, and I completely redid all of my marketing based off the study, and it completely bombed. And, so you learn from that stuff. And I always go back to trusting my instincts, what I know in sales, how to sell, because people hate to be sold, but they love to buy. And people can afford anything they want. They just can't afford everything. So what do they want? Find out what they want, create a great product, deliver the hell out of it, be reasonable with your fee structure, and I promise you, people are going to want to be a part of what you're doing.
That's very true, because I'm gonna go back to the cancer deal. Like whenever it's like a life or death situation, people will spend the money, if you know what I mean. They'll find ways to find a cure or to solve that problem.
For sure. No doubt about it. It's usually not a problem. It's usually a value problem, right?
Right.
And if you don't create value, or somebody feels like they could take that money and move it somewhere else, they're going to get a better benefit, they will. So that's why urgency is really key. Communicating your message clearly. I think it's really important to be able to do that. Because people, once again, they just don't buy. They buy based off emotion, right? They justify it with the facts, but people are buying based off emotion. That's why you really need to find out what they want. What is it that they desire to get from whatever you're selling? Meet them where they're at. It goes a long way in my experience.
Where do you see your business going? Let's say in a 2-year span.
I know, right? At this point, I'm almost like, how do I just make sure I'm doing good today? But, but yes. So I really, my vision really over the next 6, 12, 18 months is to have another couple of offices in Dallas, Fort Worth. We've got 7 million people, and there's no way I'm able to reach them adequately with my current situation. So I'm really wanting to grow the clinical operations, but also my online sales and offering online programs, because we help people really all over the country. You don't have to physically be in our clinic for some of the programs that we offer. So I really want to open up more clinical offices in DFW, really work on my social media presence, creating a better platform there, and helping grow more of our online business. I've got a couple of SKUs I'm going to launch SCT oil will be in a powder, hopefully in the next 6 months. So I'll have a powdered version, which is beautiful. And I'll be launching version 4.0, which is really going to be cool because I've been able to create a better margin. And my source that I'm creating it from, I've got a company that I have a licensing agreement with. We can ferment food waste to create the short chain fat. So it's green, there's no carbon footprint, and we're taking food waste from restaurants and grocery stores and using this so it doesn't go to waste. So I'm excited about that next chapter as well.
Okay. That's pretty interesting, man. Like, so you do have big plans to grow. Yeah, you just gotta put these little seeds in place, and you just gotta wait. You be consistency and time, you know. So do you think supporting local business is important?
Oh man, that's why I'm on this, and I appreciate what you guys are doing. Guys, it's everything, right? I mean, there's plenty of big branded franchises out there, but what about the local small business men and women who are putting the work in, who are part of the community, who are a part of the fabric of the community? And so I've really tried through all of this to make sure that I'm going to every local business that I love and continue to purchase from them. I've got a really good relationship with several restaurants here where I live in Dallas. I'm more in the Grapevine area. And I've been making sure, in fact, when I get off the phone with you, I'm headed over to La Vedia Cafe in Colleyville, Texas. It's my favorite place. Yeah. Great food, great wine. And of course, they're doing like 20 and 30% off, which isn't bad. And but I think it's critical because right now, supporting each other, encouraging each other, and there's a lot of things we could all learn from each other because some things are working for one business that maybe not for another. We may all be in different businesses, but there's a lot of the same principles, Graham, that do apply. And if I can help in any way, I would love to. I love learning from other people that do things a whole lot better than me. And there's a lot of people out there like that. So I think it's critical. I think we all work together. This thing will eventually calm back down and we'll be all better for it and come out of this stronger than ever. That's what I think about it. I think you feel the same way.
I do, 100%. If you don't mind, Randall, just tell everybody, you know, where they can find you, how they can find your CT oil.
Yes. So I would love, speaking of social media, help me grow. So we're at the Happy Healthy Guys. That's our handle on Facebook and Instagram. So the Happy Healthy Guys. And then we also are at Happy Healthy Thin DFW. That's our YouTube channel. And also you can find us there on Instagram and Facebook. That's our clinical operations. And then if you want to buy some SCT oil, you'll love it. You just go to sctoil.com. You can buy it right off the website. We offer free shipping, which is nice. And so that's probably the best place to connect to me and my team and find out more. And even if you just need help or I can help in anything, man, reach out, send us a message. We'd love to help.
Sounds good. Okay, I'm gonna have some questions for you right after this, but
okay.
Yeah, that wraps up this interview. I appreciate you being on.
Yeah,
don't go nowhere. Don't go nowhere.